shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.
Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
Is fantastic.
Is Jared still here? Jared, I think I sent you a new Malice. I thought I played it. See. I didn't finish it. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I was only halfway through it. Do that.
I think that's kind of what a lot of us are wondering. We might get to find out.
Folks, here's where we are. Barron's is warning the stock market looks like the dot-com boom before the bust. The Magnificent Seven, which are all tech stocks, they account for more than 25% of 2023's gains. Fortune is warning the S&P is heading below 3,000. Two of the biggest stock market crashes happened in October, which was 1929, and Black Monday, 1987. Seasonally, we are entering the best 6-month period for gold and silver, and along with the Fed nearing the...
Hey, Jared, I sent you, I think, a community manager invite for the Facebook page. If you're interested. I don't know if you got the notification or not.
End of their rate hikes, gold is poised to skyrocket. JP Morgan and Wells Fargo are both forecasting gold to hit all-time highs in 12 to 18 months. So here's what I want you to do. Call the proud Americans of the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late. Mention my name, Michael Malice, and you'll always get best-in-class service from Patriots protecting Patriots. Patriot Gold Group has a no-fee-for-life IRA where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold and silver, and you may be eligible for the no-fee-for-life IRA and qualifying rollovers. All you have to do is call 888-505-9845 to get a free investor guide, or even better, just go to malicegold.com. Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold IRA dealer 7 years in a row. So call 888-505-9845 or go to malicegold.com and start protecting your money from the state. Your Welcome is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Now, most of you listening right now are probably multitasking. Yep, while you're listening to me and whoever this is this week, you're probably also driving, cleaning, exercising, or maybe even grocery shopping. But if you're not in some kind of moving vehicle, there's something else you could be doing right now, which is getting an auto quote from Progressive Insurance. It's easy. You can save money by doing it right from your phone. Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save nearly $750 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Discounts for having multiple vehicles in your policy, being a homeowner, and more. So just like your favorite podcast, Progressive will be with you 24/7, 365 days a year, so you're protected no matter what. Multitask right now. Quote your car insurance at Progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. Let's get back to it. Did you watch the debate last week?
Yes.
So I want to ask you, as a professional comedian, what was your opinion of Chris Christie's delivery?
In your copyright.
And let me, for
God.
people who didn't watch the debate, for the very first time, I was trending on Twitter, as much of him as could fit in it. And he said, "Hey, Donald, I know you're watching. You can't help yourself.
What kind did you
If
get?
you keep avoiding these debates because you're scared, we're not going to call you Donald Trump. We're going to call you Donald Duck." And he made this fucking face. And I immediately tweeted, Porky Pig attacks Donald Duck. And Porky Pig was trending that night. And I'm like, this is what gets me trending.
No, that's pretty good. Dude, the craziest thing to me about it, dude, I was watching it. I watched it in bed with my wife, and we both, when he said that line, I swear to God, we didn't like plan this or anything, but we both just went, "Ugh!" Like we made the same, like it was like this visceral reaction of just like, oh, dude, no. Like, can you imagine? Because that obviously was clearly such a scripted line, right? Like you didn't come up with that at the time. But you're telling me there was a room full of people, and Chris Christie went, "All right, how about I do this? So I'm gonna go, hey, Donald, I know you're watching, and I'm not gonna call you Donald Trump. I'm gonna call you Donald Duck." And a room full of people went, yeah, you know what? Go for it, dude. You got it right there. Oof. I smell a game changer. That's what I smell right there. That was, oh my God. It was the worst presidential debate I've ever seen. And it wasn't even the whole thing was just an unbelievable. And I mean, I've seen some bad ones, but this was something of a different kind. Like it was, there's also something, I don't know if you thought this, but
I just ordered that
partly like just
coffee.
Where we are now, where you have Trump going, like doing this kind of power move, which is very interesting in a way, because we all kind of know Trump would go dominate every one of these debates. I don't really think we think Trump would be there. He'd be making fun of everyone.
I don't think that's true, because he did not do well against Biden. Not as well as he should have.
It's a little different though. Trump is the most suited for the debate where there's like eight different people there, and he's the one in the middle, and he's just like flaming everybody. There was never one of those that he didn't shine at.
Right, correct.
And you're right, he did do bad in the Biden debate, or at least worse than he should have done.
Correct.
But he's going, hey, I'm gonna go sit down with Tucker while you guys do this and have a long form conversation. And you have Vivek Ramaswamy has been hitting up all the podcasts. RFK Jr. on the Democrat side has been hitting up all the podcasts. And then you have this format that is just, in today's landscape, it's so obviously inferior in every way. What is this?
Yeah.
Could you just imagine, like, what? Imagine like you're going to debate anarchy versus like statism or something like that. But instead of that, here's my plan, Michael. Do you want to go do a debate on anarchism?
Well,
but instead of you like sitting down for an hour and discussing it with one other person, I'm going to have 8 people. One will be for democratic socialism. One will be for constitutional republicanism. One will be for communism. You'll be for anarchy. They'll be for this. They'll be for that. And you'll each get like 30 seconds at a time. You'll talk over each other a whole bunch. You know, you'll blah, blah, and you would just be like, what? This is the most ridiculous way to have a conversation. What are we determining from this conversation? You're like, oh, who's the most powerful human being in the world? That's what's on the line.
So
that's the way we do this.
I'm ready to make an endorsement in the presidential Republican presidential race. As you know, as many of the viewers know, my favorite comedian is Neil Hamburger, and Neil Hamburger is a character. He comes out, glasses, sweaty comb over, tuxedo, coughing into the mic. He's got all these glasses that he's dropping. First time I saw him, he was on Jimmy Kimmel. This is way over 10 years ago. And, you know, his jokes are all anti-humor. So it's like, hey, where did my whore ex-wife run off to with her dentist? I don't know, but when I see her in court next month, Alaska. And then it just cut to some guy in the audience with his arms crossed. And he goes, come on, guys, I have cancer. So I saw him once in LA. And if you don't know that, it's a whole bit. Like the girl in front of me turned to her boyfriend and goes, what is this? So in that vein, I am absolutely endorsing Mike Pence to be the nominee. because his you think Chris Christie's delivery was bad. His humor is so excruciatingly painful. It's like the British version of The Office. And you guys may know the American version of The Office, Michael Scott, and it's kind of haha. You watch the British version, you're literally ready to pull off your own skin to make it stop because you're so embarrassed for all the characters. And you know they're actors, and you know the actors are in on it, and they're having a great time. But when you watch it, there's no laughter. You're just extremely uncomfortable the whole time. When he had that joke about like, well, full confession, I've been sleeping with the teacher, my wife. I'm just like, I want 4 years of this. So everyone just is driving spikes into their own ears just so they don't have to hear anything anymore. So Mike Pence has my endorsement for the nomination.
Yeah, that was brutal.
It's so bad.
It was so bad, dude. So bad. And then there was also just on top of the cringy jokes, there was a crazy. Did you see that like the Vivek segments where they all just talked over him the whole time he was speaking? Like, I mean, I even in presidential debates, I've seen people talk over each other, but never just like that, where they just like they're like, we will not let you get this sentence off. And then the moderators just went like, okay, you've had your time.
Yeah.
And like moved on to the next person. And you're like, whoa, it was really nuts. And it's such a strange. Again, it's just one of these things like I've never seen anything like this before. I've never seen anything where like Donald Trump was up by 50 something points in one of the most recent polls. He's not like the front runner. He's not, this isn't like 2016. It's like he is just light years above everybody else in terms of support from the Republican base. Most of the base believes he is the rightful sitting president of the United States of America still right now. They're not interested in any of this. And then we're just going to have this big show that this guy refuses to come to. And it was that like the argument against Trump has always been kind of like, okay, well, we're the adults in the room.
Yeah, right.
You know, and then to see like this is you guys being the adults in the room. All right.
Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about, we're recording this on Tuesday night. Today's, for the first time ever, I believe, a speaker has been vacated by the House. Based Matt Gaetz forced the vote, got Kevin McCarthy out of there. I think it's very clear that there is no real governing majority in the House of Representatives, which is just a cluster, which is what I would prefer over pretty much anything. Kevin McCarthy, as of this writing, he had updated his Twitter bio. It used to say Speaker of the House and congressman from California, I believe 20th district. Now it just says 55th Speaker of the House. So he removed the fact that he was a congressman. He said he's not going to accept the run for speaker again. It's not impossible he's going to leave Congress, just like John Boehner did and Paul Ryan. I wouldn't blame him. This is humiliating. I don't see a path. What's he going to do? Wait 2 years. They get a bigger majority, then he's going to come back in. This is what he wanted. Gollum, he got the ring, and then he couldn't hack it. It's whether it's his fault or not is irrelevant. Point being, they cannot do anything, literally, until there is a speaker sworn in. They just got to sit there and vote and so on and so forth. They just passed like 45 days, whatever, omnibus, whatever the spending bill was. I don't think this is going to go 45 days, but I'm just curious to hear your thoughts. Oh, my favorite tweet of today of mine, I said that Kevin McCarthy is going to go home, pour himself a nice glass of scotch, and think about Matt Gaetz fucking his wife. So what are your thoughts about the events of today?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, there seems like there are always kind of like these factions within the Democrats and the Republicans, where there will be the factions that are kind of on the fringes. Right. So within the Democratic Party, you have, whatever, Bernie Sanders,
AOC, maybe.
Ilhan Omar, people like that, right? Who talk, their rhetoric is certainly like to the left of your average Democrat, and they want whatever the thing coming up is, if there's a healthcare bill, they want a little bit more in the healthcare bill than the Democratic establishment is willing to give. And typically speaking, they kind of end up falling in line.
Yeah, Pelosi's a beast.
And this is on the Democratic side and on the Republican side. They push for a little bit more, but ultimately they fall in line because they think their party is better than the other party. The sliver of Republicans who are outside of the Republican establishment right now, they seem to mean it.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's not to say that they're perfect. I mean, they're, from my perspective, preferable on many issues, but there's certainly a lot of issues I think they're not good on. But they, what happened with McCarthy was that Gaetz led the resistance to him becoming speaker in the first place, and he only got their support because he agreed to like a list of their demands, and he basically hasn't come through on any of them. And Matt Gaetz was like, "Oh no, I mean it. Like we had this agreement on this condition, and you haven't come through on any of them." And it's interesting to see, as like opposed to say Bernie Sanders, who would, talk about how much he was going to bring a war powers resolution about the war in Yemen and then back down at the last minute, and like all of these things. So I at least like that. And I agree with you that I'd rather Congress be as divided and as stagnant and as unable to do anything as possible. And I also because I look at politics as the state of politics in the West right now is that it can be used for spreading messages, which is good. And if it's going to do that, then I want it to spread the best message possible. And aside from that, I like landing black eyes on the bad guys.
Yeah.
I like the bad guys taking punishment and public humiliation.
Yes.
And so I love Brexit. And I love Trump winning in 2016 over Hillary Clinton. And I love things that whatever it is where the kind of progressive establishment takes a real black eye. And I see this as, even though it's Kevin McCarthy, I still see him as like one and the same. So I like that. I like the idea that Matt Gaetz and his little sliver of Republicans have the power to like nationally humiliate the worst of the Republican establishment.
Two sisters, one a respected TV producer, Jill Blackstone, and the other, Wendy. She was disabled, nearly blind and deaf, and Jill had devoted herself to taking care of Wendy.
Jill was her best friend, her sister, her everything.
But the sister bond was
hey,
shattered
how's it
when
going,
Wendy
Anna?
and some of the sisters'
You
rescue
should see it
dogs
in,
were found dead in a garage
your
next to a
notifications.
toppled-over barbecue grill. Jill says accidental carbon monoxide poisoning killed everyone. Police do not believe her.
Police arrested Jill Blackstone for the murder of her sister.
Investigators think it was staged to look like an accident.
Who will you believe, especially now that a secret source has come forward with evidence never made public before?
Jill was a good producer. There's no doubt about that. But would she produce murder is the question.
Season 2 of Bad Bad Thing, The Blackstone Sisters, available now, wherever you get your podcasts.
I always say, show me a perfect family. I'll show you a family with secrets.
Let's get back to the show. It's very clear that there's a lot of contempt by Republican and Democrat, but let's talk about Republican elites for what they call the crazies and the base. And they're not always wrong because, you interact with these people. A lot of them do have a screw loose and so on and so forth.
Sure.
But one of the questions I always had, and I'm sure you do as well, is how much of this is performative and how much of this is, true, right? And like, it's easy for me, if I'm a congressman, to be like, oh, I'm not treated with enough respect and make everyone kiss my ass and send me money. It's like, oh, mea culpa, play the victim. Everyone I know in Washington, and I know lots of people who work there, has said to me that privately, it really has gotten a lot more toxic. That this isn't just, in front of the cameras. Yes, they may get along behind the scenes, like Kamala Harris fist bumping Lindsey Graham on the Senate floor. But in terms of just the atmosphere, it really is getting to them. It really is toxic. People from both sides, I hate that term, do want blood from their opponents. And I do think that this constant, unprecedented online negativity, which they were very kind of removed from in years past before social media, was key to, among other things, your boy Mitt Romney deciding he's not going to run again. Because if someone is to the point where they have a fake Twitter account, stock account, to read Twitter, they're seeing this. And if you're someone who's been a very respected businessman, respected governor, you ran the Olympics, presidential candidate, okay, you take your punches in the presidential race, it comes with the territory. But now, like, literally everything you say, people are coming at you with language you've never heard in your life as a Mormon. At a certain point, you're like, I'm super rich, got a great looking wife, great family, I love them. What am I doing here? My party doesn't need me. Utah's going to elect a Republican anyway. What's the point? And so long story short, keep it up, guys, because it's working.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I know it from my life. I go, so in my actual life, basically I'm with my wife and kids and I hang out with my friends and then I do podcasts like this with my friends. And then I go to stand-up comedy shows where it's just crowds always love what I'm doing. People come up to me afterward. Like, I'm a big fan of yours, kind of nothing but positivity.
Right.
But then there's a whole bunch of people on Twitter who hate my guts.
Yes.
Like, if it wasn't for Twitter, or like social media, there'd be no interacting with all these people who are like,
they're not coming to your comedy show to tell you you suck.
Right. Yeah. They're not coming to buying a ticket. They're not in my life anywhere. Right. Now, I'm like a kid from Brooklyn who kind of, comes from like a middle-class background and is like a foul-mouthed comedian. So it's like, it doesn't really like, I have a thick skin when it comes to that shit. But if you try to imagine what it must be like for some of these people who are like born with a silver spoon in their mouth, are like totally insulated in this world where there's this grand narrative created about them and how important they are and all of this, to now be exposed to this must be somewhat shattering for them. Look, you can see it a lot with people in the corporate press as well.
Oh yeah,
where they are they are really thrown.
I just
by
got
the
a girl
fact
to
that it's
delete
like,
her whole Twitter. She
whoa.
deleted all her tweets. Molly Knight. She was she had slandered or been accused of slandering. I'll be careful in the lawsuit. Some baseball player. She said that he fractured some girl's skull, even though it was known that that was not the case. He sued her. She deleted her tweets, so on and so forth. And I just started going after her last week, not knowing any of this. She was just a complete harridan, and just going after Elon and saying journalists are honest. And I was hitting her, and then she's been on Twitter, I think, since 2010. She deleted them all. There's like 100 left. She deleted thousands. All that you worked down the drain. So I'll pat myself on the back for that, Scout.
Well, yeah, 100%. What was it? It was that Taylor Lorenz awful woman who like was going off about the harassment that she's been dealing with, and someone actually showed up to her house, and then she showed up to the Libs of TikTok person's house, like,
and her friend's house.
Libs
of TikTok's friend's house. Yeah,
they have this thing where they do feel like this is only supposed to go one way,
right?
And like you're not supposed to be able to throw this back at us. Like it's wild to see them, like, you know, if you know, just think about how much they like demonized the unvaccinated.
When they do
COVID.
it's free speech, and when you do it, it's harassment and an attack on the First Amendment.
Right. And so, so it is like there's in so many ways, and I think that it's easy. This is a natural tendency that we're all guilty of to some degree, but I think it's the thing that probably with like leftist socialist types is the thing that we see that's the most infuriating about them. But it's very easy in general to take everything that you're handed and everything that's good for granted, and then complain about what you don't have.
Sure.
It's kind of a natural human tendency. And I think that a lot of us, you know, if we're like you know, people complain about like tech censorship, which I do too. It's a big problem.
Sure.
And things like that. But it's really like to just appreciate what we have now, like the weapon we have now that we never had before, that people can actually get to these people, that me and you can have these conversations and so many people can be listening to them and kind of like put the dots together also. And then like you were saying before, we can also benefit from the people listening to us because we see them on social media, and sometimes they'll put some dots together that we didn't put together and be like, oh yeah, sure, that's a really good way to look at it too. Like, and there is one of the positive things. It's also one of the scary things because, you know, you get your enemy frazzled, and sometimes they can become more dangerous.
Sure.
But these guys really do seem frazzled in a way that I've never seen before.
You know what it was? Because for decades, literally decades, how it worked was the Democrats fight the Republicans, right? And oh my God, you can't vote in those Democrats. They're going to ruin the budget. Oh my God, you can't vote in those Republicans. They're going to put starving people in the street or bring back lynching, whatever the argument was. And the whole time, the corporate press is lobbing bombs. And Nixon, who was made fun of in 1962 when he lost the governorship race in California after almost becoming president 2 years prior, said, he goes, just think what you'd be missing. You won't have Nixon to kick around anymore. What preceded that? The sentence right before it goes, all I'm asking is that if you ask questions of one candidate, you ask it of the other candidate. Like that was his whole like, and even that was like too much for them. So now instead of like people lobbing bombs at Pelosi or Biden, who are completely symptoms of the problem, and they're going not just for the New York Times as an entity, but these apparatchiks who, oh my God, I've got the New York Times on my resume, I'm untouchable. They don't know what to do. And the J school certainly did not prepare them for it. And they are not quick on their feet.
That's right. And look, so many of these things kind of like, a lot of things happened at the same time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that happened at the same time was like during like this explosion of social media and explosion of resentment from the people. Because, you know, like I really do think that like, even if we had social media in the 80s or even the 90s, I just don't think it would have been like this. I mean, the country changed for a lot of different reasons, but you know, like I always use the WWF as the example, but like in the 1980s, all Vince McMahon had to do was throw an American flag on a guy and the whole crowd was like, that's the good guy. That's our team.
Right.
There was just a different spirit in this country that's removed now. You know, the 1980s were only 30 years after the 1950s. Okay. It was like not that far removed from a very different America. That's not the case today. And particularly, you know, so in 2016, we're only a few years out from the worst economic recession in almost 100 years, and two disastrous catastrophe failed wars and a lot of things, you know, the Bush administration, the Obama administration. But when Trump came in 2016 and ran, there was something that he partially ignited it. He was partially a result of it, but he did there was this paradigm shift where, if you remember Mitt Romney in 2012, one of the big scandals was when he said the binders full of women comment. And what Romney was actually doing, if you remember, was he was on his hands and knees begging. They accused him of being sexist, and he went, no, we wanted to hire women. I asked for binders full of women. And their response to that was, binders full of women, you sexist. And so he was kind of like down on his hands and knees being, please don't paint me as a sexist. I'm not at all. And they were like, that's the way you're begging is sexist. And then Trump comes in there and they're like, you've called women fat pigs. And he's like, only Rosie O'Donnell. And then Megyn Kelly goes, there were others too. And he goes, probably. It's just like, yo, like it was almost like there was this whole thing where it's like we're not doing that anymore.
Yes.
There was a whole like kind of movement where it's like, you know what, the apologizing just gets you called the name anyway, so let's just be hilarious with it and throw and something. And I think this is a big part of why they loathe Donald Trump so much. It's not just policy stuff or anything. It's like that is this physical embodiment of a repudiation of all of them and all of their feelings and all of this. But yeah, it's a different world now, and I certainly think the levels of contempt for the establishment and the levels of contempt that the establishment has for the American people are very clearly higher than I've ever seen.
And all the polling I've seen points to that as well, that the level of trust in American establishments is at historic lows. All the indicators are in that direction. I think all of social media is fueling that, which I'm delighted about. There's a lot of hand-wringing about how you turn this car around. Well, here's how you turn around. Don't be such insufferable literal demons who have no redeeming qualities whatsoever. And since you can't, look, this is going to get worse for you.
Well, look, it's an encouraging thing. It's also a dangerous thing. You know, I think we've used this analogy before where it's like a woman who's being abused in a relationship is like, that's it, I'm leaving. And you're like, that's good. This is also the time when you're in the most danger.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like if the guy was going to kill you, like now's the time he's going to kill you.
Or she's going to kill him. Or she's going to.
Right. Yeah. But like, so I think there's some things to be concerned about, but one way or the other, the answer is that this woman is supposed to leave this guy. Right. Like the answer is that we're not supposed to trust these people.
Yes.
And yeah. Why should we? Right. Like the answer isn't that we're just supposed to trust institutions. The answer is that if institutions want that trust, they should be trustworthy, which they're not.
Not even a little. Dave, we're running out of time. What has been your favorite part of this episode?
Oh man, we had so many good parts. You know what my favorite part of this episode was? Someone just recently tweeted at me that they were like, goes, can you guys bring the crossover episodes that you guys had back during the pandemic? So like, can you bring that back? Because that kept me going through the whole pandemic. And I just was thinking about that as we were recording today, and I was remembering those conversations we had during the whole lockdowns and stuff, where we were doing shows like every week, and how I heard so many positive things about, you know, like how that like kind of held people together, and that I remember saying it also kind of did that for me too. Like it was really helpful for me, and I just kind of had that feeling the whole time we were talking today. So that was my favorite part.
Well, they are welcome.
Background check. Is anybody back there? Supervisor. I need a supervisor.
Our communication's done.
I need a supervisor. Okay. So you're denying me service?
I'm not denying you anything.
You're denying me service?
I'm protecting my information, that's all.
Okay, so can I get a supervisor? Yes or no? For the record. Can I get a supervisor? This is the police station, ladies and gentlemen. That is like Nazi Germany. They arrest you for retaliation. They don't answer questions. They don't treat the public with respect, and they do whatever they want. So I guess we'll just sit here until our tax dollars are back at work.
Expired. Hey, Colin. You touched the marijuana. That's not how you ingest it.
Are you stalking me? Are you stalking me? Do you have a call to follow me? Me? All right, why don't you go back to work? You know there's a shooting at Wendy's. Why don't you guys go figure that out? Okay, go solve some real crime. Go cross some real crime. Okay, go solve it. There's some real crime in Lockport, not cameras. Yeah, you too, stop following me. Stop following me.
Back at it with another update on the corruption down in Lockport, and this corruption is brought to you today on behalf of Chief Abbott, the leader of the corruption squad down there known as the police department.
Listen, y'all, these kids want to act up in school, want to go to school and embarrass you, want to make like they got no home training. So I told my son, don't go to school bathroom no more. I'll take care of you, son. I give you anything you want. I discipline you. But you're going to embarrass me like this? You know, so now I'm going to cut his hair. See this school with all of it.
No, so you were in a restricted area. Now I want your identification.
You're not getting it.
Don't embarrass me. I told you, don't embarrass me. No.
All right, Erie County fam, let's go ahead and take a look at this new set of corruption and dodging accountability and lack of transparency in our government. And this today is brought to you by the one and only leader of corruption here in Lockport, New York, Stephen Abbott. So let's go ahead and take a look at his sworn statement of the Lockport Police Department on his sworn affidavit to try to dismiss the lawsuit for the body camera footage inside that lobby that he is so desperately trying to hide and cover up what those people said in there. And you're going to be shocked what he had to say about why and what that he knows that these people said something that he's trying to cover up super hard. It's almost disgusting, but let's go ahead and get into it. He just says that his duties include oversight of the police department and all the different things, including reviewing FOIA requests related to the police department. On or about February 15th, petitioner, which is me, auditing Erie County, submitted a FOIA request asking for all unredacted, unedited, body-worn camera footage of Officer Mayo and Officer Streckwald on February 14th from the Labor Department. I also requested all Axon audit trail footage and data file information for both officers' footage, which, if you guys don't know what Axon audit trail is, that shows you when the video was uploaded, who looked at it, how many times they looked at it. It shows everything, including edits, if they deleted it, when they deleted it, and who deleted it. So I also requested that incident police report and submitted that on the 15th of February. Based on his review, in consulting with the city's legal department, he recommended the respondent deny the said FOIA request because they are compiled for law enforcement purposes. So body camera footage, even though it's public record, is not for the public because it's compiled for law enforcement purposes, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, because I know everybody watching these videos has seen lots and lots of body camera footage in their time that were public records and given to the public. He also said there may be relevant to a pending law enforcement investigation, which he's going to elaborate here a little more on what his opinion of may be relative to a pending law enforcement investigation. So his interpretation of that is pretty outrageous in itself. As a background to the court, he starts to talk about J6 stuff and how I had charges in the past, which has absolutely nothing to do with this FOIA request. He put all the conditions in here for the Article 78 lawsuit for the body camera. So for some reason, he thinks because I was arrested for J6 that is relevant to getting body camera footage for the news channel of Auditing Erie County. And then he goes on to talk about January 17th, 4 days after being released from jail, petitioner was involved in another incident in the Rath building. So for filling out another FOIA request and another bogus employee like Jeremy Toth, who wouldn't give a photocopy. Now, this is somehow relevant to his case here, but maybe he's just trying to muddy the waters. He thinks that that's going to make it relevant to the case of why he should not have to give up public records. Something about my past should be relevant here. I don't understand it, but upon further brief, the judge was asked by Toth to change my probation conditions to keep me from doing First Amendment audits or for audio recording or video recording public servants. And he says here, upon information of the brief, the federal judge did not immediately make a decision regarding the request, instead asked for further briefing on the issue. Then he goes on to talk about something else without mentioning that the judge said, no, that was too broad, that stopping Mr. Warmers from going to somewhere like Mr. Toth's office or, the city clerk's office to file paperwork or video record in those offices would be violations of my First Amendment rights. He seemed to leave that out. I think that's pretty important if he's going to mention that he should have put that in. On February 14th, petitioner visited the New York State Department of Labor in the city of Lockport. He proceeded to video record and verbally disagree with the staff working at the Department of Labor when they said that I could not video record in a public lobby. Well, we all know we can. As a matter of fact, the video proved that we can because they called the police. The police came, told them I could, and the police went about their way without any incident. I recently reviewed the video and this incident uploaded to petitioner Warmus on his YouTube channel. In the video, Mr. Warmus acknowledges that he had no business purpose whatsoever at the Department of Labor. Let's go ahead and see what I acknowledged and the reason I was there. Let's go ahead and take a look.
No, I don't need any help. I'm just here to take some photographs of the lobby. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm working on the Labor Department.
Okay.
All right?
You are from the Labor Department?
No, I'm the independent journalist just working on a story on the Labor Department.
Okay, I don't know about pictures in here. Can you mind if I get I'm sure it's fine.
I mean, if you want to double check, you're more than welcome to, but I'm telling you, it's all right.
Oh, it started this week. Sweet. He's freaking driving me nuts.
Just what's available for the public.
Rather, that he states that he's there to investigate the extent to which he is permitted to video record in common areas of a public building. What did you guys hear? Did you guys hear me tell him I'm here to investigate something, or did you hear that I was there to work on a story about the labor department and all the information available? And then you see me proceed to video record the stuff on the walls. So to say that I had no business purpose whatsoever, the labor department is a blatant lie. Oh, wait. Lockport telling more lies, guys. We didn't see that coming, Chief. Liar Chief Abbott over here. We didn't see that coming. Dang. Another lie. He writes here, despite the request from the staff working there, Warmus refused to leave till his story was finished, right? I would leave as soon as I was done with my story. The police were contacted and 2 Lockport police officers responded. Warmus, although peaceful in video, was clearly interrupting the employees' workdays. Let's go ahead and take a look at my actions there so you guys can see me interrupt their workdays.
I pretty much finished on business here. Maybe I don't know if I got this billboard here, but I don't want to run and leave if the police are coming. You know what I mean?
Well, they know you're here. They've been informed.
Look at that. I was video recording the documents on the walls quietly, and even the chief writes peacefully in video. Clearly, peacefully exercising constitutional rights is clearly interrupting the employee's workday. Because I was so... I was holding that camera so tightly and video recording those public documents for dissemination to the public. It was so clearly interrupting to the employee's workday. But let's move on here. 17. The police officer spoke to Warmus on their body-worn cameras operating. Importantly, Warmus was recording the police officer the entire time. There was one point in which an officer stepped in the back area to have a discussion with an employee at the Department of Labor. Warmus was not privy to those conversations. So what Chief Abbott here is saying is that I was not privy because there are secret government conversations going on here in the back room. The secret government that Chief Abbott runs with his police department and throughout the city of Lockport, secret government is what it's all about here, fam. He's going to go ahead and admit that there's secret government. We are not entitled to know what is being discussed in private areas because it is secret government. It should be noted that body-worn cameras by the police are created records that are compiled for law enforcement purposes. I don't know about you, Chief. I mean, being chief of police, I would think that you would have general knowledge that everything the government does is public record. Body cameras, security cameras, the notes you guys write, the tickets you guys write, everything and anything that you guys do while working for the government, because the government works for the people. The people are the boss, the government work for them. It doesn't work the other way around, but apparently in secret government, corrupt, lying Lockport, Chief doesn't understand the way things work. I mean, the obvious proof is that, Chief, there's a lot of body camera footage out on the internet through, First Amendment audit channels and other places, and it's clearly compiled for law enforcement purposes, but that doesn't exempt it from the public because the public owns it. They own the badge on your chest, Chief. They own the shirt on your chest, Chief. They own the gun on your hip, Chief. Everything is owned by the public. It's a public entity. The government does not own any of that. You guys seem to forget that, and that's where the disconnect comes from the people to the police, where they think they own everything, right down to the people and constituents they serve. Yet you guys have this notion that it's not that way, but that's the facts. You guys having this attitude is what spawned First Amendment auditors and people going out and reclaiming what belongs to the people. So this lawsuit is for you, Chief, because your arrogance and your ego and your lying tongue. Let's go ahead and move on to here. Despite the police presence, Warmus still refused to leave the property. Ooh, the big bad police. Are we supposed to be scared of the police, Chief? Chief, are we supposed to be scared of the police? Is that we're supposed to run when the police come? Aren't they there to protect and serve? Aren't they there to protect my constitutional rights to video record in public and work on a story on the Labor Department? Aren't they there for that? Or are we supposed to run scared from the police? Ooh, despite police presence, Warmus still refused to leave the public property. Go figure. Once he stepped out of the building, Warmus insisted on a call number from the officers. The officers respectfully informed Warmus, who refused to provide him with his name, Well, Chief, I'm sure you know what the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution is. I am secured in my personal effects, my documents, and that includes my first and last name. Now, in this video, I'm sure I introduced myself as Dan, so you all know my name is Dan, so I didn't refuse to give a name. I did refuse to give a last name because, I have a Fourth Amendment right not to give it to you. So to say that, Warmus refused to provide them with his name, well, my name is none of your business. There was no crime committed. There was no need for a criminal investigation that day. The only criminal investigation is, it's you, Chief, and your lying tongue. Lying Lockport. He has to retain the call number, and the police told him he can obtain the call number at the police department headquarters. Warmus was not satisfied with this response, and eventually peering into a Lockport police vehicle to take a video of a computer screen inside. Well, it is public information to get that call number. You guys had it readily available, but this officer's ego just kicked in and wouldn't let me have it. So I figured, hey, maybe it was on the screen. I could have had it. But I mean, if the police officers were doing their job and due diligence to keep people's personal information out of the public view, I would have walked to that computer screen and found the computer screen was closed or out of a mode that would show personal information. So the chief says here, the information on the computer screen was not related to Warmus's incident. In fact, it contained information regarding an unrelated harassment matter of the city of Lockport. Oh, you're saying you guys left personal information of somebody else's harassment matter out for the public to see. Oh, that's my fault because you guys wouldn't give the call number and you guys left personal information out. So, as we all know, it is a constitutional right to video record anything the eye can see from a public place, including the sidewalk where the officer left his screen wide open for public viewing. But therefore, the city received the full request for the person's residing outside New York State for the police report regarding the unrelated harassment matter that was on the computer screen of the police vehicle that the police left in public view. Somehow I got this information that should have been covered up by them because we all know the onus is on them to cover it up. I'll tell you one thing we do know. The Lockport police denied that guy's full request for the police report in the public records because we know lying Lockport doesn't like to have any type of transparency in their government. They rule with the iron fist. So we know that, this guy may have full requested that number, probably assuming it was the number for the case that they were there for me, but instead they just left somebody else's information. But we all know Lockport denied that full request. That's almost a guarantee because there's not much transparency going on there. Despite the fact that Warmus was recording the entire time, he asked the officers whether they had been recording the entire time. It's funny, Chief, that we have to check up on you guys and ask, were you recording? Did you mute your body camera? Why would we have to ask that, Chief? You know why? Because you lie. You guys lie, nonstop lie. Your affidavit here is riddled with more lies and misinformation, and you guys lie. So I have to ask them on the spot, did you mute the body camera? Was it on? And I have to catch them off guard. So they say yes. So when I do that full request and it comes back redacted or edited, we all know that they messed with the camera footage. We have to take precautions like asking, was your body camera on? Because you guys lie. You're liars, complete liars. It's lying Lockport. Why wouldn't I have to check up on you guys? You guys proved to be lying Lockport. Upon informing and briefing, Warmus seek to determine whether the conversation in the clerk's office and the labor department were recorded on the body camera footage. Yeah, because you lie in Lockport. Why else would I have to ask that question? Wouldn't it be great in a world where I wouldn't have to ask you if you guys were lying, or I wouldn't have to trick you guys into telling the truth? I mean, people are supposed to trust the law enforcement, but here we got lying Lockport. I was inquiring whether the Department of Probation would need the same information requested by Warmus, relevant to his supervision of Warmus during his probationary period, requesting information restricting his conditions from probation. I'm not going to break the law. I'm not going to do anything that would violate my probation. I'm not a lawbreaker. I'm not a liar. I'm not a police officer. I mean, I'm not a liar. Furthermore, that line below, I was concerned the identity of the employees of the Department of Labor who had given statements outside the presence of Warmus would be disclosed on his YouTube channel as further delined below. Oh, you were afraid that public servants, whose names are public information, will get out to the public. Geez, what a concern that public servants, taking that job as a public servant, might have their names out to the public. I mean, that is public information. Oh, wait, their salaries are public information too. We can have that and post it and put it on a YouTube channel. Warmus often releases identities of public employees on his videos on YouTube channel. You're saying that the people who work for us and take a public position as a public employee, their public name is released to the public? Jeez. Thereafter, these public employees are bombarded with barrages of condescending verbal attacks and threats from Warmus's followers. Wait a minute. let's go ahead and take a look at what happens to an employee who is not only polite, they respect the public, they treat them with respect, and they're very nice. Let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like and what the calls for that look like.
Good afternoon, Supervisor's Office. Christine speaking.
Hey, Christine. This is Dan from Auditing Lee County. I was, yes. Dan from Auditing Lee County. I was in there working on a story a month or so ago. I was wondering if the supervisor was available to speak to.
No, I'm afraid he's not. He's going to be out of the office for the next few days, so can I have him give you a call back when he gets back in?
Yeah, you probably could, but maybe I could ask you a few questions. The question is, did you guys get massive amounts of phone calls of people complaining about that video?
No.
Did you get any phone calls that would have been, or emails that, you know, gave you compliments?
Yes, I mean, I didn't really hear anything negative, honestly.
Did you hear some positive?
My take on it, I actually took a phone call. I fielded one of the phone calls from someone that called, I believe, from Washington State, actually saying that they thought it was a very good video and that they were, you know, really impressed by the way everybody handled everything, and they thought it was a positive video to show, you know, of going into a public, you know.
The government says that I go into government buildings and manufacture disturbances for clicks and views on YouTube.
Gotcha.
So would you agree or disagree with that statement?
I mean, we didn't have a negative experience here, so...
So you would disagree that I tried to manufacture a disturbance that day?
Correct, yeah.
But, you know, the government tried to paint a bad picture of what I do, but the problem is...
Yeah, it would be a good example of that. So I went back and looked through, because honestly, before that I hadn't. So I just watched the video, you know, and then heard other people got phone calls, and then when I actually got one myself, it was just a nice surprise.
As you can see, Erie County fam, that lady was very happy to get awesome calls that were of compliments because they did such a great job. You know, the public is really sick of seeing piss poor public employees like lying Lockport clerks and lying Lockport Chief of Police Abbott here. Chief says here, my fear was that releasing the statements and identities of the Department of Labor employees would cause extreme levels of threat and intimidation to them. This would likely inhibit the employees' willingness to cooperate in any further investigations and thereof interfering with the investigation. All right. So what the chief is saying here is if the public servants lie, if they make stuff up, and then the public redress their grievances and catch these people lying, they're less likely to lie in the future. And the chief clearly needs people to lie for him, is what he's saying here. And that's how, when it says that it would interfere with police investigations, that's what the chief is referring to. There's no investigation of any crime that happened on the 14th where he's saying that I can't have this because it may be part of ongoing investigations. The chief's idea here, which is out there, it's way out there, guys, is that his fear that releasing the identities and the employees would cause extreme levels of threats and intimidation to them. This would likely inhibit the employees' willingness to cooperate in any further investigations and thereby interfering with the investigations. Now, that's unbelievable. So if the people get caught in their lies and they lie about things, then they're going to get redressed. That is a constitutional right. That is a First Amendment constitutional right for people to redress their grievances to the government.
Yeah,
I don't tell people to
Rob,
do it. People get aggravated with seeing lying Lockport continuously lie. We got 4 clerks lying for the chief. We got a chief of police who's a complete traitor to the people and a lying thief, stealing tax money for a paycheck while lying to the public.
All right,
it's ridiculous.
All right,
he wants to say that
though, if you're not
willingness
able to
for
make
further
it, please let me know ahead of
investigation
time.
to lie for him. He wants to cover that up by writing this affidavit to get rid of that likelihood that I could find out what lies and what they said in the back room, which is public record because they made it. But hey, for these reasons, the FOIA request made by Mr. Wormus was denied pursuant to the exceptions and provisions of the Public Officers Law. So his totally weak, imaginary interpretation of that law, guys, tell me what you think about that in the comment section. Please do. I want to hear what you guys think about in the comment section, that if it's released them lying on camera or saying something bad, they're not going to lie for him in the future. And that's how he's interpreting that it would inhibit the investigations, impending law enforcement investigation in the future. These don't even exist. He just wants these people to lie for him in the future, so he's going to protect them so they can lie. Lying Lockport, at it again. Wormus then commenced to insist litigation. I must note, though, that Wormus unnecessarily accomplished the process server in the matter of August 18th on 2023, and again proceeded to video record the staff of City Hall in Lockport before the staff while they were being served. He says it's unnecessary, but it's clearly necessary to show the people how to petition their government through FOIL, how to fill out the FOIL request, how to appeal the denied FOIL request, how you must have them served. This is a valuable service I do for the community where I show these people how to do these things and how the process goes. So to say that I unnecessarily accompanied him is just ridiculous. And to say that, oh, he video recorded the staff. Newsflash, Chief, that's a constitutionally protected right. Therefore, Warmus placed the video on his YouTube channel, implicitly calling for actions from his followers. The word implicitly means without saying call them, I somehow magically made you guys call. That's what the Chief is saying here, that I somehow magically made you guys want to exercise your constitutional rights. No, Chief, I do believe the fact that you guys all lied and you guys all conspired. I believe that's why people redress their grievances, because you're pissing the people off, Chief. Lying Lockport is pissing the people off. Maliciously prosecuting somebody is pissing the people off. I don't even have to tell nobody to call. As a matter of fact, people don't call. Don't call. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to call. Not because I'm telling them to, Chief, because you are pissing off the public that you swore an oath to protect these rights. What's wrong with you? And you're going to write this statement up with imaginary interpretations of the law? That's just ridiculous. Since then, the city of Lockport Police Department and the clerk's office has inundated with emails and phone calls and voicemails, many of which either inflict or expect threats of therein or determining and harassing content. Geez, are you harassing me right now with this malicious prosecution violation you guys are going after me with? I think we know who's the one doing the harassing, Chief. The police department non-emergency line has also been inundated with false calls. So people exercising their First Amendment right is false now, Chief. You swore an oath to uphold the right for people to exercise their constitutional rights. They have a right to make these calls. I don't see nothing false about them. Even a robo-dialer. Oh, no. Somebody sent a robo-dialer? I'd like the proof of that one because I call nonsense on that. You know, this is lying Lockport, so we can't take much of this statement for much more than a grain of salt. They are caught in many times in their lies in their sworn affidavits. They have no problem lying. It is lying Lockport. And let me just, I want to add something about, since we're talking about redress of grievances, and he wants to blame me for this. Now,
what's that, on Instagram?
This is what I call classic gaslighting and blame shifting. We've all heard the term blame shifting. This Chief is the king of blame shift right here. Let me just give you a good example, fam. When I went to the Capitol on J6, I entered it. I got arrested for doing so. It was a crime. The news reported that I got arrested for it. I went through the process. I came to my work the next day at my auto repair shop, and I had voicemails, a ton of them, threatening, awful voicemails, right? I had negative Google reviews on my business from people. All right. Now, let me ask you, Chief, and Erie County fam, who do I blame for getting those phone calls? Who do I blame for getting those threatening emails? And who do I blame for the negative reviews on my voice or my Google review on my business? Who do I blame for that? Do I blame the news companies for producing the news and showing what happened that day and that I got arrested? Do I blame them for that? Or do I take responsibility for my own actions? I'll tell you what, I'm not going after CNN. I'm not going after NBC. I'm not going after the local news stations because they reported what happened. I'm going to take responsibility for what I did, and I'm going to listen to those phone calls. And you know what? It's not even a constitutional right for these people to redress their grievances to a private business like it is for you guys. So quit your blame shifting, Chief, about these phone calls. You want to lie? False for somebody to practice their religion. It's not false for somebody to speak their mind, and it's certainly not false for somebody to redress their grievances. And I don't in no way insinuate that people should do this, but it's time for you guys to take responsibility for your own actions and stop blaming me. As you've seen in the last little clip I just showed, how tickled that lady was to hear from people and get compliments. All right. So if you guys weren't lying Lockport and you did your job properly, maybe you guys would have got good redress, and you guys wouldn't be crying because the news reported what it was that happened. Let's go on here and see what he says. It is clear Warmus regularly incites these types of abuse on government and law enforcement employees in numerous Western New York and with his many followers. Yeah, it's clear that I incite these things, right? It's not you. It wasn't lying Lockport. It wasn't the denying of a public records request for a stupid reason like body camera is not a public record because it's compiled for law enforcement purposes. Oh, they're not calling because they're pissed off at you. They're calling because I magically made you lie? I magically made you guys into lying Lockport? Oh, no, fam. They did this on their own. You guys need to start taking responsibility on your own. There's 35 right there. there on the list here. Some more blame shifting from Chief Abbott, the gaslighting, blame shifting traitor, liar that he is. Talking about stuff that has nothing to do with this case. Let's go ahead and see here. 40, he says, further upon information and brief, Warmest publication of his video of the Raft building in January caused inundations of phone calls. Oh, here we go. Some more blame shifting. Another whole line of blame shifting where, the county attorney didn't act like a jerk off. He didn't act like he owns the copy machines and he wouldn't do his job properly, called security on somebody peacefully exercising their constitutional rights. And all of a sudden, I'm the problem because Jeremy Toth acted like a jerk off. There's some more blame shifting. This dude's full of blame shifting, lying, and corruption. It's disgusting, fam. This is his reaction to try to get the dismissal of the charges, so he doesn't have to give out that body camera footage of what he's trying to hide in the back room, the secret government lying, corruption that they have going upon. But 42 here is where we're really going to get into some gaslighting and some more lying Lockport of Chief lying. Abbott. Warmest attempts to provoke government workers into arguments or acting in a way that gets him expelled from public buildings. Really? How do you explain all the past videos then, Chief? How do you explain when I walk into a town hall, a library, and I have a great interaction? And as a matter of fact, I've even shared some letters of recommendations that say that what I do is a public service, an invaluable public service. But you know who wouldn't consider transparency an invaluable resource? The government. Lying Lockport wouldn't. They would get exposed for lying, like in the last video where I exposed all the lies and the sworn affidavits with video proof. These people made lies with knowing I had video proof of it all. So he goes in here to say, I attempt to provoke government employees. Well, geez, how do you explain all them past videos? How do you explain the peaceful and great? How do you explain that lady getting redressed where she got compliments and she was excited to hear from somebody from out of state, nonetheless? It wasn't the people from in the state that she was impressed she got compliments. It was the people from out of state, which blows your opinion that out of state people don't matter, because when people get compliments from out of state, how excited was she to be to impress somebody doing her job as a public servant from a state or for a person she's never going to get to meet and never have an opportunity to impress, but she did, and she was more happy about that person from out of state. But here we go. He then posts his videos either implicitly or overtly calls for his followers to act. I have never, ever told somebody to call. I've never asked somebody to call. I don't expect people to call. If people want to exercise their constitutional right, as a matter of fact, I put a disclaimer in my thing that tells them that there's a fine line between peacefully exercising your right to redress your grievances to your government and making threats of harassment, threats of violence. And it says in there, let's take a look at that. Let's go ahead and take a look at that disclaimer. It specifically says here, if you do threats of harassment, you are not part of the movement. You are not helping with the movement.
Okay.
That's what it says. So let's go ahead and get back at this here. Thus, if the statements made by the Lockport employees in the Labor Department taken on police body camera footage were publicly released, these employees
he did a great job.
threatened and harassed by Warmest's supporters. Wait a minute, Chief. Are you admitting the fact that the reason that you're not releasing this body camera footage is because you know what they said on there would infuriate
that clears everything up for them. Yeah,
citizens?
it's nice to have that load up.
Pay these people to act professional. Is that because that's what it?
All right. Well, like I said, if anything changes, just let me know.
It would undoubtedly cause harassment by his supporters if they found out what these employees had to say.
Yes, unless now, Rob says something different.
That's pretty much an admission that you are hiding something, Chief.
His work
because
here, so I'm probably
what's wrong with transparency? What's wrong with releasing that body camera footage? Oh, you just admitted here that if you release
if that changes, I will let you know.
Call it false right. It would cause people to, and my supporters to, use their false right to redress the grievances of the government. How ridiculous, Chief. You just admitted that you're covering something up. The denial of Warmest's FOIA request was made in good faith. It was made in good faith, Chief. What he's saying here is it's good faith to shield lying people so that he can make false documents and police reports, right? So he's going to protect them from lying so that in the future he can lie. And he calls that good faith, fam. This lying Lockport is as corrupt as the day is long, and is much longer than this video, guys. By not releasing this, it's going to prevent interference with law enforcement investigations, so that people can lie for his law enforcement investigations. That's what he needs, because he's too busy lying and covering for people's lies. Further, Warmest requested to obtain body camera footage of a conversation between the police officer and employees of the Labor Department that not for public good. Oh, that's back. We're circling back to that private government, that secret government he's running over here, where he gets to lie, cover it up, so that in the future he can get people to lie some more for secret government. such as even if successful in petition of his litigation, he is not entitled to return attorney fees in this matter. So in 44 here, he's also saying that if the judge decides to give me this body camera footage because he wants to shield people from being able to lie in the future for his future law enforcement investigations, and he's admitting here that he knows his shit is bullshit, and he's calling out his bullshit, and he's telling the judge, I'm not entitled to attorney fees for having to take him to court because he wants to interpret law so he can lie in the future with a magical interpretation of, hey, if I release this body camera footage, it's going to infuriate the public to the point where people aren't going to lie for me anymore. So if you release it, I'm not going to get people to lie for me. So don't release it and don't give them attorney fees, because then it'll be even harder for me to cover stuff up and lie in the future. Lying Lockport, that's ridiculous. I'm also aware of the court's desires of a copy of the records review in camera. I have provided the Deputy Corporal Counsel, Jason, with a copy of the police dated report on February 14th and the Axon audit trail of both Lockport police regarding this matter. These records provide true and accurate copies of the request. All right. The court demanded that the Lockport police, so the New York State Supreme Court judge in Erie County, because we took them to court in Erie County, demanded that they release the footage, and the judge said, I will look at the footage and I will decide if he can have it or not. All right. What the chief just said here is he provided everything but the footage. And he's expecting this to get dismissed, so he doesn't even have to comply with the judge, because he knows the judge is going to award it. Because it's a public record, Chief. You're a moron. What is wrong with you? Boy, Lockport never ceases to amaze and give up any so I'm just giving him a shovel. I'm gonna let him keep digging themselves. I am requesting the petitioner's actions is dismissed in its entirety. So they want this to dismiss this so they can continue lying. This is some real lying BS stuff here. I make this affidavit under the pain and penalty of perjury. He went ahead and lied in his affidavit under perjury, but we all know the government's not going to hold him accountable for that. So let's just recap here. Chief wants to be able to lie to the public. He wants to be able to continue his lies and cover his lies so that people will lie to him in the future, fam. Please leave a comment and let me know what you guys think about that. That's some ridiculous ass crap.
And because it does work out in his favor.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. So here's the deal.
Here's the deal. So here's the deal.
But here's the deal.
Here's the deal. Well, here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
Because here's the deal.
Here's the deal. Either give me your ID or you go to jail. How about that?
Catch me outside.
I'll be right back.
How about that?
How about that? Here's the deal.
Welcome back to the Here's the Deal show.
Without badged and costumed welfare recipients, who would mess with, harass, and arrest a mechanic who's working on a client's vehicle? This guy right here is Roland Edgar, and he's a mechanic in Huntsville, Alabama. He is working on a client's car in a parking lot where this client works, and he's approached by two Huntsville police officers. How do you think this interaction is going to go? Let me just show you the end from the beginning real quick. Apparently, the lower court saw this case and declared Roland Edgar, even though they say Ronald Edgar here in the article, it's Roland Edgar. The lower court declared Roland guilty. But at an upper court, the United States Court of Appeals has reversed the district court's granting of qualified immunity in a false arrest claim lawsuit against two Huntsville police officers and the city. We're going to watch how this plays out from the police body cam video from the Huntsville Police Department.
How are y'all doing?
I'm 36, I'm 420.
Smart.
Hey, how you doing?
What are y'all doing?
I'm for site description. Huh?
What are y'all doing?
Get in the car.
Is this your car?
Here's a drive off tag.
One of our customers.
1867.
One of your customers?
Oh, yeah. I was over here earlier.
Whose car is that?
Mine.
The black one?
Yeah.
Two things real quick here. It's a good idea to keep your mouth shut. It's a good idea to take your unalienable right of the Fifth Amendment right to be silent, and you don't have to answer any cop's question. And this United States federal court will reiterate that. The second thing is, just for safety purposes, and this is just as an aside, but it's very important. Anytime you jack up a vehicle, you always want to chock the wheels front and back to keep that thing from rolling, because watch what happens. Cop's just standing here recording. There he goes. Rolled back and fell off the jack. That wouldn't have happened if the wheels were chocked, so just be careful.
All right, take a break from me real fast, and y'all have driver's license or IDs on you?
I ain't gonna submit to no ID. Listen, you call this lady right now. Listen, I ain't got time for this call where I don't mean to be rude or
Okay,
nothing.
no, you do need to give me your ID or driver's license.
Listen, I don't want you to run me in and for nothing.
Are you refusing me to give? Are you refusing to give me your ID or driver's license?
Call this lady on this
Step
car.
over that one.
Come on, man.
So right now, this is Officer Krista McCabe and Cameron Paralat just put hands on him, put his hands behind his back, and now they're going to put the torture cuffs on him. For what reason? What was the crime? Did they have probable cause? Did they even have the lesser reasonable articulable suspicion? Answer is no, no, and no.
You're playing right now. We don't got time for this. We really don't got time for this.
I mean, y'all don't understand.
You don't understand the law.
I do. I got three officers. Y'all go.
Turn, by the way.
Now, first of all, my left arm up there, man.
This is an innocent man being taken away for no reason.
I hit twist my left when I asked you, sir.
All right, I'm gonna do your cuff.
Yeah,
and you twist your wrist around.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna give you my ID. Right, my
Hey, man, will you go stand in front of my car for me?
Come on, give me my ID. Man.
No.
You don't have to comply with any of these commands. Neither of these guys are doing anything wrong.
We'll get your ID.
Keep your wrist like that.
All right.
All right.
And the court will actually back what I just said, by the way.
They're good now.
No, look.
They're good right now. They're not too tight.
Okay, you're under arrest for obstruction.
I didn't do nothing.
All right, so if you resist any further, you will also get charged with resisting arrest. You understand?
Listen, I give my ID. I tell you what's going on. This is ridiculous. I'm trying to get a customer's car here. I'm in a rush. My shop's unlocked over on Governor's Drive right now. Do you want my ID? Where's your ID? It's in the car, I'm sure. I thought it was in my pocket. Y'all down in my pocket for no reason. I said my ID is in my car. Go over and walk in and get my car.
Okay, well, he's still going to check your pocket because I don't know what's in there, all right? And you're not going to get placed in my car without knowing what's in your pocket. Now 47 total.
You shut up. Is that how you talk to someone? Is that officer supposed to talk to someone like this? Yeah, we're here doing a custodial search on you.
I didn't look at this young kid. Looks like he's fresh out of high school. Telling this guy who is innocent to shut up. We're not here to play games.
Do anything. I didn't do anything. What y'all need to do is call Mr. Hotel right there in this office right here and hand me the key. That's
I already
what you
explained to you, all right?
I mean, I am such a rush. How long has it been, man? I've been trying to get over and get this call back. And then there it is. Okay.
3821 Crane Drive.
That's it right there.
Is that all his pocket?
I think she's having problems with her landlord.
I got things and stuff like that.
Come to the 1020.
So they forced him to be insecure in his person by forcing him to give his ID for no reason.
This ain't necessary.
It is necessary. Called obstruction.
It is necessary. Why? Because necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedoms. It's the argument of tyrants, like the Huntsville Police Department, and it's the creed of slaves.
I didn't do anything. Please listen.
I've already told him that he's under arrest.
This is ridiculous, man. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do a crime. She's trying to arrest somebody for not doing a crime. She's trying to arrest me for obstruction. For what? I didn't do anything.
Yep.
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Huh? That's what I'm saying.
Sit down.
Listen, please listen.
Sit down.
That's what I'm saying, man. I got my shop unlocked over there. I'm trying to comply. Man,
wow.
Please listen to me.
Sit down.
Please listen. No, you don't want to listen to us. I'm trying to explain to you. I'm trying to explain. Hey.
Okay, once again, just have a seat right there for me, okay? I can use your ID.
Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So let's just go over some of this. This article right here says that it says Ronald, it's Roland Edgar, a mechanic in Huntsville, was charged with obstructing governmental operations after police were called to a church parking lot where he was fixing a customer's car at night in 2019. He filed a civil rights lawsuit alleging false arrest in violation of his Fourth Amendment rights against unlawful searches and seizures and the state law false arrest claim after the city of Huntsville dropped the charges. So this is the actual court case right here. But I wanted to show you a couple of vital components on this that you might want to keep in mind next time you encounter law enforcement officers like Kristen McCabe and this Cameron dude. When they ask you for your license, if you have done nothing wrong, you are well within your right to maintain your security of your person and not give them a thing, according to this court case. In this article right here, it says that a district court found that the defendants, that's the officers in the city, were entitled to federal and state law immunities. That's qualified immunity. Here's what they said. The district court reasoned that even though Mr. Edgar committed no acts giving rise to actual probable cause, a reasonable but mistaken officer could nonetheless have believed his refusal to produce physical identification was a crime, and the officers thus had arguable probable cause to make the arrest. In other words, the cops can be ignorant of their own law, and they're going to call that a reasonable action to get this guy to let go of his individual rights. That is the right to be secure in your person. Edgar filed an appeal in December 2019 following the district court's decision, and now a 3-panel judge for the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals has reversed the grant of qualified immunity. Can you say amen? But I want to show you some of the wording of this. I want to blow through it as quickly as possible. On cross motion for summary judgment, the district court found that the defendants were entitled to federal and state law immunities. It reasoned that even though Mr. Edgar committed no acts giving rise to actual probable cause, like we just read in that article, a reasonable but mistaken officer could nonetheless have believed his refusal to, let me just capitalize on this, believed his refusal to produce physical identification was a crime. So it can be based on belief, not on the law, not even on the statutes or their own codes, just belief. So you can go to jail, you can lose your rights, your shop could be left open and robbed and ransacked, because that's what happened with Mr. Edgar here. They took him away and he couldn't go back to his shop to lock it up. All these things can happen because the cops believed that they were in the right, against all logic and even against their own codes, as the circuit court will point out here. Believe his refusal to produce physical identification was the crime, and the officers thus had arguable probable cause to make the arrest. This appeal followed. So what the circuit court says, we focus on the federal claims first. In general, when government officials are performing discretionary duties, as all parties concede they were in this case, they are entitled to qualified immunity. A plaintiff may rebut this entitlement, so the entitlement of qualified immunity, by showing that the government officials, number one, committed a constitutional violation, and number two, that this violation was clearly established in law at the time of the alleged misconduct. Both requirements were met by Mr. Edgar and his attorneys. In theory, this judge-made doctrine, that is qualified immunity, it is a judge-made doctrine. It's not an unalienable right like they claim it is. Cops walk around like they have more authority than you, that they have more rights than you, that they can do things that you can't do. They actually believe that, and their actions show it. And this circuit court claims that this qualified immunity is a judge-made doctrine. Indeed it is designed to protect government officials from the consequences of their reasonable mistakes made in the exercise of their official duties. The test is conjunctive, and if a plaintiff fails either prong of the qualified immunity analysis, his claim is barred. And that's what they found. They found that these officers fell short of meeting their requirement for qualified immunity because they went way beyond their own codes and relied on belief. That religious belief that I'm right, you're wrong, you lose your rights, you go to jail, and I get to go home free and clear at the end of the evening to be with my family, but you don't. For Fourth Amendment purposes, arrests are seizures and are unreasonable unless supported by probable cause, which these officers, these Huntsville officers, did not have probable cause. The court says, we have recently clarified that having arguable probable cause is just another way of saying that the law is not clearly established. Applying these principles to the case, Mr. Edgar was charged with obstructing governmental operations in violation of Alabama code. Well, The circuit court said, no, this wasn't it. This did not fulfill those requirements. The Huntsville officers stepped across the line. They're indeed the ones who committed the crime. They don't get qualified immunity. Turning first to the theory that Mr. Edgar obstructed the officers by using intimidation of physical force. First, the defendants, that's the cops, argue that Mr. Edgar's non-compliance and aggressive demeanor obstructed Officer McCabe's investigation and provided her probable cause to arrest Mr. Edgar. But here's what the court says. But words alone fail to provide culpability under Alabama's obstruction statute. So Mr. Edgar's statements and noncompliance without more do not begin to provide facts or circumstances to support probable cause. So what are they saying? Your words can't be used by law enforcement officials to claim obstruction of governmental business. Down here it says, accordingly, no reasonable police officer could believe that Mr. Edgar violated this portion of the obstruction statute and therefore was not even arguable probable cause, much less actual probable cause to support Mr. Edgar's arrest. Circuit court completely in the corner of Mr. Edgar and completely condemning the law enforcement officers and ready to strip them of their qualified immunity in this case. They also said section 5-530 does not require anyone to produce an ID or driver's license as Officer McCabe demanded. Indeed, it does not require anyone to produce anything. So these cops are just sitting there doing whatever they want, not even following their own laws, statutes, codes, regulations, nothing. They're just going by their belief. I just believe I have probable cause to arrest you. I just believe you need to produce your ID when I tell you to. It says, here, the video evidence is clear that neither Officer McCabe nor the other officer asked for Mr. Edgar's name or address. And that's what they're saying. Just name and address. That's all you need. You don't need this guy to produce his ID. Additionally, Mr. Edgar's objection was clearly related to the unlawful demand that he produce physical identification. When asked, what are y'all doing? He responded to Officer McCabe and explained that they were fixing a car and that it belonged to a customer. They gave them everything that they needed to know. The person, check this out. This is great. 3 related premises lead us to this conclusion. First, the broad background rule is that the police may ask members of the public questions and make consensual requests of them. Florida versus Bostic. And then it says, as long as the police do not convey a message that compliance is required, which is how McCabe came at Edgar. And the circuit court says, but the person, quote, need not answer any questions put to him. Indeed, he may decline to listen to questions at all and may go on his way. You can, according to the circuit court, you can completely ignore what the cops are saying if they come up to you, even if they ask you for an ID, ask you what you're doing. The circuit court said, hey, you don't even have to listen to them. You can ignore them and you can go on about your business. Just go on your own way. The circuit court said, to summarize, it has been clearly established for decades prior to Mr. Edgar's arrest that the police are free to ask questions and the public is free to ignore them. I love this. This is great. Let me read that again. To summarize, it's been clearly established for decades prior to Mr. Edgar's arrest that the police you're free to ask why. This is America, man. You can exercise your First Amendment right to freedom of speech. You can ask me all the questions you want, but the public is free to ignore your questions. I don't care if you have a badge, uniform, a gun, authority of the state, a big power trip and ego. I can ignore you. They said, and because Officer McCabe's demands for an ID and driver's license went beyond what the statute and state law required of Mr. Edgar, she violated clearly established law. Now, to me, this is pitiful. She already violated the Fourth Amendment, and that's all you need. You don't need laws stacked on the Fourth Amendment to give you extra protection, or what's the use of the Fourth Amendment? All they had to do is, Mr. Edgar has the right to be secure in his person, and McCabe and the other officer came up to try to make him insecure in his person. This is clearly a violation and against 42 USC 1983. This is clearly deprivation of rights under color of what? Belief? Because it's not even under color of law. They say it is. No, it's the law. You have to give us your ID. And this theory cannot support the grant of qualified immunity to the officers. And that, I love that too. You don't get qualified immunity in this situation. You really shouldn't have qualified immunity in the first place. But this circuit court overruled the lower court, and Mr. Edgar was allowed to not only go free and have all the charges dropped, but Mr. Edgar actually was, given the green light to countersue. And that's what he's doing, is he's countersuing. So hopefully he'll get a big settlement, but the downside to that is who pays for that settlement? It's not the entitled, ego-tripping, power-tripping, drunk on their own power law enforcers. It's the tax cattle who get dinged with whatever bill Mr. Edgar is going to launch against the Huntsville Police Department. I don't know. Leave your thoughts about this. What do you think about the lower court's ruling in favor of the cops and about the circuit court's ruling against the cops and against their qualified immunity and for Mr. Edgar? By the way, we all are Mr. Edgar. We are all those people out here who are trying to be productive members of society. We're not bothering anybody. We're not harming anybody. We're not threatening to harm anybody. We're not stealing anybody's property. We're actually producing things. And then you get these non-producer law enforcement officers who are basically entitled biatches who are bleeding tax cattle of their money, not producing anything, not enhancing society, but actually jeopardizing rights. What do you think about that? Leave your thoughts for the world and the global thought, please.
Yes.
Did you grab my time card?
I did, because I want to talk to you before you left.
Oh.
What's been going on with
Hey, I will let
hold
you
on.
go.
Oh, I didn't know you were on the phone.
I'll let you go. I'll call your mom in a minute and I'll take care of it. I can try.
Just curious about the GMPs lately.
The what?
The uniform.
Oh, I can only do laundry on Thursdays at the shelter. And I gotta get more clothes, but I need money to do that.
I understand that. You're gonna get paid for everything for this week, but today was the last day.
Okay.
Just the stuff about taking extra time at lunchtime, that stuff's not acceptable.
I was told it was
By who?
Anthony.
Anthony, who's
And
not
I
here
went-
himself.
And I went.
So he's the only
the
person that
reason
I wouldn't be able to ask about that.
The reason I took extra time today was because I went and got my pain meds for my injured foot.
Okay. Couldn't do that after work?
No, because I wanted to have been able to keep moving.
Okay. Now, you didn't disclose any injuries either that you had before working as well. So, I mean, right there's that's a terminable offense. So, go ahead and punch out. You will get paid for this week, but today was your last day. Not that, no. No, because I'm recording that for him, for me too, in case he gets some. It's a big kid. Oh, you could leave it up there. Thank you. Yeah, they collect those. Right. La lata. Go back. His kids in the shelter and stuff, but he's straight up lying.
What?
I received a missed phone call from you.
You didn't receive a missed phone call from me.
I definitely did.
That's bullshit. What do you? Stop playing games. Stop playing goddamn games. What do you want? Hello?
Hello?
Hey, you calling about a car?
No, I wasn't calling about a car. No, I mean, I have a
Thing
car
is, that
for
isn't
sale.
what he told.
Yeah,
the
I think I called you.
supervisor. He said, "Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry."
that's what I'm saying. I had a missed call from you.
We're
Oh,
something
my bad.
different
What
tomorrow.
what car are you selling?
So they gave him
2010
some disposable overalls to wear today.
Okay, was that your wife's car?
No, that's my car. Not
You
my wife.
you were driving a Patriot? Hello?
No, I mean, yeah, I was driving a Patriot, yeah.
It's kind of a girl car.
What, was a girl in the car?
I mean, it's kind of a girl car. I'm surprised you were driving it. How much you want for it?
You surprised I'm driving a What are you talking shit now?
Yo, what the fuck? Watch your goddamn tone on my phone, man.
No,
Right
what do you
back.
mean it's a girl car? Like, what are you trying to be funny?
I'm not trying to be funny. I was surprised you're driving it.
Is that what you professionally now? You're a comedian?
You're a fucking comedian? Calling me fucking around on my phone?
I'm not the one calling from a stranger.
I'm trying to buy a goddamn car, you jackass. Knock it off. Settle down.
Alright, what do you want? You want to come see the car, dude?
I'll come see the fucking car. I'll take your last fucking ride in it. Drive us both off a fucking cliff.
You think so?
Yeah, I fucking know so.
Yeah, well, we'll come see the car then.
You come see the fucking car.
I know where the car is. What do you mean come see the car?
Alright, we'll fucking put your pink ribbon on your girl car and drive over here, pussy.
Oh, dude, you can suck your nuts, bro.
Oh, fuck
You
you.
can lick my fucking ball sack.
I'll come over there and suck your whole fucking dick.
Then your fucking dick is hard.
I'll swallow your fucking cum, pussy. Who's the pussy now? You're nuts, dog.
Fuck you.
BB Solutions.
Hey, I'd like to speak to the coward Dennis Trooper.
I'm sorry.
I would like to speak to the coward Dennis Trooper.
Well, that's not a way to start the conversation, is it?
I'll start the conversation however I damn well please, lady. Put me through. Patch me through.
Your mother with that mouth?
I'm about to kiss you with this mouth. Now, come on, patch me through.
Well, first of all, you're calling the wrong office. Second of all, you're too far to do any of that with me, so I hope you have a lovely day and tell your mom I said hi.
Hello?
Hey, did you call?
Hello?
Hey, did you call me?
Who's this?
Steve, I got a missed call from your number. What do you want? Hello?
Steve. Yeah, were you calling about a car?
I don't know. I got a missed call from your number. What do you want, jackass? Quit wasting my time.
Yeah, dude, I'm trying to figure out who you are. I don't know.
Hey, watch your tone over my... Watch your goddamn tone.
Blow me, asshole.
You fucking blow me first. Oh. Hello?
Litigation, how can I help you?
Hello. How you doing, bud? I got a call from this number.
You didn't? What did I do for you?
I did. Don't snark me. Don't you dare snark me, dude.
Snark you?
Don't you dare, dude. I got a call from this number talking about litigation, dude. Let's litigate.
When did you get a call from this number, sir?
Dude, it's irrelevant. I have you in my voicemail.
First of all, it's not, my name's not dude. It's sir or mister.
Sir, Mr. Dude. Dude, Mr. Sir. No, you're not a sir or mister.
I don't talk people dude.
You're a sir. You're not a sir or mister, dude. You're barely a dude. You're boy.
You're barely a man.
You're boy. I'm gonna call you boy. Remember you told me you're gonna call my whole family and embarrass me? What's good, baby? They didn't get me, baby.
It wasn't me, but
Yeah, it was. I know your little voice. I know your Weasley little voice and your ways.
Is there something you want, Mr. McCuskey? Because, I mean...
My name's not McCuskey, boy. What?
You actually have no life either.
You called my family, babe. You called my family and attacked them. You spread rumors. I called you babe.
No, Anthony's not the supervisor.
I called you babe. You'd wish.
No, Rob is the supervisor here. He's even cooler than Anthony.
But I don't. Sorry, bud.
You can't afford me.
Yeah, right, dude.
I just put that on because I thought it was funny.
Hi, I'm calling about the apartment for rent.
Which one?
Hold on, let me see this here. It was down on 518 Lombard.
Yeah, sure. Sure thing.
Hey, I was trying to see.
When are you looking to move?
Immediately. Can I do anything I want in there?
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know, like if I had that place, that's my private space, right? You don't share it or anything?
No, you don't share it. It's your apartment.
Okay, so no, and the windows are pretty good where no one can see into them?
Now you're making me kind of nervous about what you're going to be doing on the inside, bud.
Well, I just want to know for my privacy. It's my first place by myself. I was with my mom before, and, we didn't see eye to eye on some things. So I just want to make sure it's a private space.
Yeah, it's your own apartment. You can put whatever you want on the windows to keep people from looking in.
Okay, because, I got to get out of here right now. Me and my mom aren't seeing eye to eye.
Okay.
She's not really a fan of BDSM, and I've really got into it in the last couple months. So I just want to host some BDSM parties, and, she's really not very sex positive. And I don't know.
Gotcha.
I just don't feel like she respects me or my gear and all the stuff needed to do, like, host a successful BDSM party. So
sure,
I just want my own place.
BDSM parties, if that's what you need to get by in life, then so be it.
Hot and dry across most of the central and eastern U.S., and fall so far has not provided much relief. But a storm system is forming right now that will change everything. A wall of cold air is about to race over the country, setting the stage for a very active period of weather. Starting as soon as tomorrow, we can see that wall of cold air approaching from the north. But things are still going to be pretty warm in the south, especially in Louisiana, where temperatures are still going to be in the upper 80s and low 90s. But don't worry, that's not going to last very long at all. Check out this temperature anomaly map, which shows the huge area of cold air racing south out of Canada. This air is going to spread out and settle as far south as the Gulf of Mexico eventually. Early in the morning on Friday, it may get below freezing in parts of Montana and North Dakota. When you wake up in Des Moines or St. Louis, it's going to be in the low 50s, which hasn't happened in a little while. And where these cold temperatures clash into warmer air out east, we are going to see rain and storms. We saw a pretty intense version of this yesterday in Texas and Oklahoma. Over 100 total reports of either hail, wind damage, or tornadoes came into the Storm Prediction Center yesterday as the leading edge of our wall of cold air smashed into parts of the south central U.S. But today, we're just looking at some general rain showers and maybe a clap of thunder or two over towards the Appalachian Mountains. This is something you guys are going to want to get used to all across the eastern U.S. as this huge trough decides to settle over the eastern part of the country for the next little while. It's going to dump a ton of rain over the east coast, especially since it looks like Tropical Storm Philippe is going to get pulled up towards it. Not only is this going to bring a ton of rain up here, but it's also going to amplify the cold air invasion on the backside of the storm system. Cooler temperatures will be felt across the vast majority of the central and eastern U.S. on Saturday. And you can see that very clearly here on the temperature temperature anomaly map where widespread areas will be experiencing 20 to 25 degree below average temperatures throughout the day. And there's still a well-defined wall of cold air along the Appalachian Mountains, but even where it's warmer to the east, these are going to be much cooler temperatures than what we're used to. Highs are only going to be in the 60s around New York City on Saturday, and even in the 70s across the Carolinas. But of course, there's a catch. A lot of these cooler temperatures are going to be aided by rain, especially in New England, where Tropical Storm Philippe may try to make landfall somewhere between Maine and Nova Scotia. This is going to bring very heavy rain and strong winds to a lot of the Northeast. However, the closer to Canada you are, the more intense this is going to be. And it looks to me like landfall is going to occur either late in the day on Saturday or very early on Sunday, where our mass of cold air will be getting even more solidified across the East Coast. And an impressive ridge of very warm air will be building in the west. So while we're all over here dealing with morning temperatures in the 30s and 40s in Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and even parts of Virginia and North Carolina, later in the day across the western U.S., we're going to be having fun in the sun. But this is all being controlled by our huge trough that's stuck over the eastern U.S. And the longer it's over here, the longer the warm air in the west and the central U.S. will be allowed to compile and expand. Until, of course, another huge trough comes in and pushes all that warm air out of the way. It's a cycle. And when that cycle gets going later in October, that's where I start to smell trouble. You see, as we go into early next week, a lot of warmth is going to be building up across the Rocky Mountain region and the central U.S. Even our big cold air containing trough will be letting up a little bit and allowing the warm air to come back across the southern and southeastern U.S. And as we head deeper into fall, it's inevitable that another, more powerful trough will eventually sweep through and push all of this warm air out of the way. When, not if, that happens, I think we're going to have a very seriously active period of severe weather here in the States. In fact, I think we are officially heading into our secondary tornado season, or fall tornado season. Everyone knows about traditional tornado season in the spring. From April through June, there's a huge area that sees a lot of tornadoes. We all know about this. But it seems like a lot of people forget that in the fall, a very similar thing happens because all of these big cold air blasts that come down from Canada. I'm especially interested in this year because all that cold air is going to be clashing with such warm and juicy air down south thanks to our high sea surface temperatures. In fact, here's where I think we're going to have to watch very closely as we head through the rest of October. Anywhere from Kansas to Florida could experience tornadoes, but there's an emphasis on the coastal areas between Texas, Louisiana, and Alabama. This is where those really warm temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico are going to be able to interact with the colder shots of air coming down from the north and really cause big problems. And then as we go into November, the area of concern expands a little bit, and it includes the Ohio Valley, but the bulk of the action will still be expected farther south. And even in December, we expect there to be problems with tornadoes in the south central U.S. So as we head into fall and we all start dreaming about those snowstorms, do not let your guard down. Fall tornado season is very real, and the question you have to ask yourself is, are you prepared for it? I'm prepared for this upcoming fall tornado season, and really any tornado season, even here in the Weather House, which isn't really built for tornadoes. We don't have a basement. We don't have any good interior rooms to take shelter in. In the event of a tornado, we've had to take our safety into our own hands here at the Weather House. And let me show you how we've done that. Just outside of the studio here, we've installed something really cool. Come look at it. Just look at that thing. It's right outside of the studio, literally just steps away. Ours is called the Twister Pod Max, and it's made by Survive a Storm Storm Shelters. And they just happen to be today's sponsor. This is an above-ground tornado shelter that can fit up to 6 people, and it's bolted into the ground. It's engineered to withstand up to EF5 tornado winds of over 250 miles per hour. This bad boy right here is made out of 100% steel, so you don't have to worry about it cracking or crumbling or even leaking. And the peace of mind that our small team has because this thing is here is priceless, and it was super simple to install with the help of an NSSA contractor. I've been searching for quite some time for a storm shelter company to work with, and Survive.
I'd say don't bolt it. It's small enough, you won't get rattled around too much. Just line it with some nice pillows on the inside and go for a ride.
A Storm is the perfect partner for us because they understand how important it is that everybody has one of these. And I think a lot of you guys watching right now probably didn't even know something like this existed. You thought that if you wanted a tornado shelter, you had to call some company to dig a 20-foot hole and pay $10,000, $20,000 to make this underground bunker thing. No, you don't have to do that. This can sit in your garden, your backyard, your garage, and it can withstand up to an EF5 tornado, which is absolutely incredible. Whether you're at a mobile home or you're in a house like mine that doesn't have a basement or a good place to take shelter in, this is a great and affordable option. Of course, I've got a link for you down in the description below. Go check out the website, and it would mean a lot to us if you got one from them. You certainly don't want to get stuck in a situation where you wish you would have. Now, as far as exactly when that next big storm is going to come, it's still up in the air. Right now, at this very moment, all of the global models like the Euro and the GFS are pretty inconsistent, so there's not just one storm system to track, but there are multiple little blue blobs that are flying around the northern hemisphere of the Earth, and we're going to have to watch all of them because the farther south they go, each one will carry the very real potential to cause problems. The one that catches my eye the most is this bad boy right here that doesn't come in until like October 16th.
You guys ever heard of the thing where you play Wizard of Oz with Pink Floyd's Time? And it actually, with the changing of the scenes, the song beat changes. Roger Waters said he had no idea that was happening, but it's so weird how in sync they are.
This is way too far out to put any stock into right now, but something like this could definitely interact with all the warm air that's going to build up in the central and southern U.S. over the next couple of weeks. Once again, I want to thank Survive a Storm for sponsoring this video. Their storm shelters are awesome, and this is a huge deal for us because we're so excited to be spreading the word about such a life-saving product. Once again, link in the description if you want to get one of those. But that's all the weather info I have for you today. Remember, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one, okay? Goodbye.
You can buy them at Home Depot. $4,000. Hey, Pam.
Hi.
What's up?
Okay. I don't see myself on the schedule,
Yeah.
and I went / my mom.
I did get your message. I just, they just need someone a little bit more productive and with better. We understand you got a lot of stuff going on the outside of work, and we just need someone that's going to be there every day. So that's what they told me. I sent you a text. Did you get it?
No.
It's the same number that you sent your text to me on.
Right.
Okay. Well, I sent you a text back just that they were releasing you. So
they are.
this week was your last week. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. If anything else comes up, I will reach out to you though. Okay.
Okay.
Apologize.
All right. Well, my mom had. This is the reason why.
Ma'am, I don't want to see the pictures. I believe you, and believe me, if it was my choice, we'd move you to somewhere else or something like that. But I just don't have anything else right now.
Okay.
If I do get something, I have your number, and I will reach out to you though. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I fucking hate that. Yeah. I fucking hate that. The other kid, I didn't give a shit. Is what it is. He made his own bed, but she's. I mean, she's in her 70s, so I can't imagine her mom's got to be near 100. Howdy.
Hey, Mallory came at 5, so she's leaving.
Okay. I'm actually almost done, so be out here too soon.
Yeah, I'm not.
Not hanging. I don't blame you.
I'm probably severe like.
Yeah, I won't even be here that long.
One other thing too is a couple of these new employees. You're doing the GMP training.
Absolutely. I did. That's why I just let that kid go over it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which one?
Cole.
Tall, goofy one.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just the GMPs. It's also he deciding when his breaks are and how long his breaks need to be. And even though he's not punched out on a break, he's taking extra time. So, but yeah, they're all going over it. Not only do they have it on their tests and everything, I completely explain what the uniform is.
Yeah, I was pretty certain of that when Robert brought it up. But there's two scenarios. It could happen. One is the train's not being done. I go.
Yeah.
But the most likely scenario is they're saying that, oh, I wasn't told that.
Yeah, I mean that's always the thing to say. That's why I have.
One guy had a gold necklace or a silver necklace on like this thing. Then I go out there an hour later and he's got his cell phone out. And I'm like,
I don't get it. I mean, that's I print that whole manual out for them, each and everybody, and if to make sure they. And I'm like, listen, as you're going through the test, if you come across something you can't find in this handbook, come and ask me. I'm going to show you where it's at, and I'm going to explain it to you.
and the other kid too, I'd go up there, second floor by the Littlefoot mixer, and he's up there and his whole butt is hanging out.
No, Jesus.
I'm not talking about underwear. I mean actual, and I'm not
Plumber
talking
ass.
about just plumber crap. I'm talking about what are you doing?
Food products.
Exactly what I said to Mr. Food Plant. Pull your damn pants up. And I told Robert, I don't care if you have to take bulk bag rope and create a belt for him. Do something.
That Colt kid, I gave him a pair of boots. A brand new pair of boots.
Really?
I said, he's like, well, do you need the boots? I'm like, no, man, you've been wearing them all week. I said, they're yours now. I said, I just wish you would have followed directions this week, your first week. Good thing next week, that D'Angelo Wood, he went away a little bit. He had to serve some time for probation violation. Well, he served it. He got no more probation left, and he was doing great when he was here. They just picked him up. He'll be back Monday. And I have one other new kid today that seems pretty sharp that is going to be here Monday too. So both Anthony Wright and Cole are done. So already got them replaced.
I told Robert, I have high confidence that Norm's doing that training. They're full of crap.
I mean, I welcome you guys anytime to sit down, sit through it. You see, you can see what I go through with them, and I spend at least an hour and a half with everyone.
Just when I come down to go to the bathroom and over the years to know that you are. So
yeah, I don't deviate from it either because of that. I don't want them to ever be able to say, "Hey, he didn't tell me this." This is why you both sign it, and I'm saying it. So,
well, thanks, Norm.
Yep.
You have a great evening, buddy.
You too. Yeah, no kidding. He's a good guy too. He'll be back Monday though. All right. Let dirt. I gotta go. I got a haircut.
Chili the Brat will return after these messages.
Hey kids, Delete Laws makes playtime fun with these all new Chili DeCastro dolls. Whether you want to teach constitutional law, file a bogus federal lawsuit, or just hassle some pigs, there's a Chili doll for every occasion. Be the coolest kid in the whole schoolyard. Let your imagination take flight, and let the other kids know who their daddy is. Each Chili doll comes with its own special phrase. Just pull its string to hear it talk.
I'm the boss, Mr. Longfellow. I'm not just some regular person here. I'll steal your ass until oblivion. But you can eat my sword stopper. I'm not moving. Don't you ever put your hands on a full-grown man, son. As far as athletic ability, you're just not on my level. There's nothing down my pants, boys and girls. There's nothing down my pants.
New Chili gender-neutral dolls from Crapco. Trifold not included. For over 100 years, we've been scrunching and folding toilet paper. Finally, there's a better way. The DeCastro Wipe, the new, modern solution to a clean butthole.
Can you go ahead and spread your butt cheeks for me?
After use, just press and release the button, and the DeCastro Wipe drops right into the toilet where it belongs.
Get in there! Yay, yay, yay!
Think about it. Toilet paper is really archaic and disgusting. The Castro Wipe is the modern solution. Ew, so gross.
Well, you better believe I got a big fat ass, and I can't reach. This is my best friend.
It's embarrassing to have someone help you with wiping your own ass. The Castro Wipe allows you to maintain your dignity while wiping your ass with chilies.
The DeCastro Wipe, new from Crapco.
We now return to Chili the Brat.
No work, no allowance.
That's not fair!
Don't raise your voice to me. Now, you get on out of here. I got things to do. What are you doing now?
I was having a tantrum.
Oh. Well, don't get your clothes all dirty.
You feel alive, let's hit the dance floor. Don't work too hard, my break a backbone. Return to the Mac, the king is back though.
Now for some misspelled outro. Some misspelled outro.
rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me. Cause she got a bad little waist, and we tearing down this place. Off the liquor that we chase, got some egos to the face. Baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on a tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine. Got a fine little body and her mind's kinda naughty. They say that once you taste it, you cannot replace it. She could get you high, all the dopamine inside triggers fast once she's naked. Her body's a creation. They say the devil made her for his entertainment, but even he couldn't learn how to contain it. Her high heels make a damn good statement. There is no replacement, a body by Satan. She got a bad little waist, and we tearing down this place. Off the liquor that we chase, got some egos to the face. Baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on a tight frame. All